question does it answer out of the 5 W's? Who, right? That is, for whom am I writing? So that is your potential audience. Now, there could be three kinds of audience. One is your expert, okay? One could be industry practitioner, and the other could be researchers. Now, based upon the kind of write-up you are writing, the audience, you have to see the audience first, and then you will be writing. Now, let's see if you are writing a project report. Okay, we are preparing an investigating report. Whom do you think would be addressed to? Which type of audience on the screen? So the experts are the people from the same organization and the department which they are handling. They are more. They are the people who know the organization in and out. All right. So they are the experts. Now, when you talk about industry practitioners, it will be more outside your organization, basically, whose purpose is to know about your business. Maybe you have sent them a business proposal or a grant, raising funds for the project. So those will be industry practitioners. Those will be the audience who are not directly related to your organization, but they are something like stakeholders, you can say, or people who are into that field, but not directly related to your organization. Okay. And researchers would be people who are experimenting on some process or some new, some new findings. So those audience would be researchers. Now let me reframe my question, and no guesses this time. Huh? So whatever, I mean, it should be one answer, not all the three. Okay, so now again I'm asking, if we are writing an investigating report for my organization, preparing all the audit reports, all the finances, everything, then who will be the audience? Then it would be expert. Yes. Now I hope you got the difference. Huh? Anything which comes to the investigation or which comes to the overall inspection would be always done by a panel of experts, right? So more of when we are writing something for the interview basis or some probing things. So those all things would be related to experts, because these are the people who are directly related and who would be able to investigate. I hope this point is clear. All right. Now, let's say if we are writing a proposal, okay? We are writing a proposal to so and so person, talking about my new project and talking about the benefits that I have in the project, or whatever will be the profit or whatever. Then, what kind of audience would I be addressing to? This will be industry practitioners, because these are the people who know their business and who are experts in the business. However, they are not directly related, but then yes, they can help you out in counseling and in raising funds as well. Okay. Uh, all right. Researchers. Now, let's say if we talk about something as a white paper, all right, or a research paper. So, a technical paper or a white paper talking about one particular process and all the new things or new findings that have been done there. Then, what kind of audience I will have? Researchers, right? Okay, now let's see. It says that wherever you are writing or you have a technical writer there to write, then there are three things that we need to consider. One is your purpose of writing, that is P. Then you have intended audience, that is A, and context, that is C. So, purpose of writing, people, which question does it answer out of WH and H? So, the WH question that is answered here is, why am I writing? That means the entire objective of the writing. For example, when I was preparing that article on business management, remember? So, if before even writing, you will have to ask that why am I writing it? So the purpose has to be clear. So is it to make aware people about the definition of business management, or am I trying to tell them the problems that I am facing? So that should be clear. Okay, now talking about the second point, intended audience. Which question? This is again audience. Who, right? Who? So this is who. Talking about the audience, we have already talked about it, and the context. Now, which question does it answer? The context. What? Correct. So, what exactly I have to write? So, we have P for purpose, A for audience, and C for context. I hope we are clear on all the three. So, see, the purpose says, what are you writing? What is the purpose of writing, and what is the ultimate goal? So, Once your purpose is clear, it would determine your format. So whenever when you are clear that okay, I have to write a report or I have to write a proposal, then accordingly you can set the format and everything. Now see, this is the proper format that we talk about while we are writing. So we start with something called as title, that is the topic. Then we talk about abstract. Have you heard of this term, people? Abstract. What is the meaning of it? It is actually a small summary or a gist, as people said, of the entire thing. So technically, tell me, should I write the abstract at the beginning or should I write it after I have completed all the write-up? Yes, very true. Because you have to highlight the main points of the entire report. So technically, you write the abstract after you have completed the entire thing. However, in the sequence, abstract comes just below the title. Okay, just remember this. All right, then the actual write-up starts. Talking about the first thing is introduction. So, for example, we were writing something about business management. So, introduction would have the basic definition or the process or the roles and responsibility, all that would come under introduction. Then is the main body part. Now, based upon the objective, your body part would be decided. Now, you don't have to give the heading body, but then yes, the headings could be any, but the entire content that you will cover would be related to the objective. So, for example, my objective is to make people aware of the problems that I'm facing in business while I'm managing the business. So those problems, the solutions related to it, the benefits, all those things will come under body part. Okay, now talking about the results. Any idea? What do we write under results? Anything? Okay. Now, people, when we write something, some experiment based or some white paper where I'm trying to find out something or I'm trying to do something new. So there, the result means that whatever algorithm I used or whatever process I did, what was the result of it? Okay. So what was the result? It could be in a term of equation. It could be in a term of a statement. So those things are called as results. Okay. Now next thing is discussion. Okay. Now, when I talk about discussion, it means other people, the viewpoints of other people that would be documented here as discussion. So, for example, there are certain other people who have written something similar for the topic. You can just explain that okay, these were the people who talked about these things. So, it is not mandatory in all the type of writing. However, result and discussion is something which depends upon the kind of writing. If it is a research paper or something, then we add it. Otherwise, we can remove it also. And then finally, the conclusion. Talking about the conclusion that you got. That means what was the problem and what was the ultimate solution that you gave, and the overall benefit. So that will be given under conclusion. What do we understand by acknowledgement, people? What is acknowledgement? The credits. Okay. Now, so what is the difference between acknowledgement and reference? In reference, also we kind of give the credit. So, what would be the difference? People, you would have seen it in textbooks and other writing materials. So, at the very beginning, before even you start the introductory pages, there is one page known as acknowledgement, where in a form of a letter or in a form of content in a paragraph, you just thank or express your gratitude towards everyone, right? So that is called acknowledgement. Whereas when we talk about reference, it is given at the end of the entire document, talking about the links or the published papers from where you have taken the reference. So there you just put a numbered list 1, 2, 3, 4 and put all the references, whatever you have used. So maybe you have used some websites, so you can mention there, or you have used some published papers, you can mention there. So all those references would be mentioned, and also you can actually cite them within the text. So for example, in introduction, the first paragraph you took it from somewhere or you referred, so you can put that particular number. Maybe it is on number 2 in the reference. So you can put it in square bracket. I hope this point is clear. How to cite the sources. This is called citing the sources within the content, within the text. All right, now let's proceed. So it says that when we talk about audience, what are the things that I have to take care? You have to tailor the communication to meet audience needs. So whatever is the need of the audience, accordingly you will have to put the write up. So that's how you will communicate and Here, communication means the writing, the exact writing that you are doing. Okay, second one is identify your intended readers. Very important. You have to know that who are my readers, and based upon that only you will be preparing your content. Then you have to separate the technical experts from the general audience, because see, if you are writing for experts, your write-up would definitely change. You cannot use simple, layman language. There you will have to use the technical jargons and everything. So that you should know before starting the write-up. And finally, you have to use the technical terms with wisdom. Whatever technical terms, for example, if I'm using a term SOP, so I have to first define it. In the first instance, I will have to write that, okay, SOP means standard operating procedure. So I will write it in the bracket, and then going forward, I can use the term SOP. That so that people know what SOP is. It's not that always you have to write the full form, only in the first instance, wherever it is coming. I hope these points are clear. Any doubts so far? All right, now talking about the content, the C part that we were talking about, CAC, so C, the content. So it says that, content actually determines how a typical reader or listener would receive and interpret the message. So it's very important because whatever you write, people would interpret it that in that way only. So your writing, you become the brand ambassador of that product or say of that process. So you will have to write it very carefully so that it is received and interpreted in the same way as you want them to, right? Okay, now second one says writer's job is to determine what format is suitable. So likewise, you will have to first form the basic skeleton of whatever you are writing. So and then only you will start so that the basic format is clear to everyone. Okay, focus we have already talked about accuracy, clarity, and conciseness. So this is about the content. So again, they are talking about purpose, audience, and context that we need to take care. Okay, now when we talk about technical writing, remember those three keywords? What were they? The three keywords that we joined with technical writing, we associate with them. Correct. Technique, science, and engineering. So those were the three things that we kind of connect with technical writing. And see, they have given certain examples. Now they have said that there is another kind which is called business writing, which is a kind of it will be written as a different perspective because it will have more of business oriented information rather than the entire process. For example, if you are writing something as a business proposal, you need not tell how the product works. You can actually tell them about how this product would benefit the people in the coming quarter. I hope you are getting the point that what kind of content we should cover in business writing. So you need to understand that whenever we are talking about something of business writing, see, it says business documents need to be persuasive, whereas technical documents need to be neutral and objective. So business documents would always, the intention would be promotional basis. It will be more of selling your product because you are actually asking for the funds. So basically, what you will be talking about, you will be persuading your audience that okay, this is the benefits of my business and you should invest in it and blah blah blah. But when we talk about the actual technical writing stuff, like a research paper or like a manual, we are actually we are just giving the information. Okay, we are not persuading the audience. We are telling them, we are informing them, and it is more of objective and neutral. That means unbiased, no promotional thing is there, right? So in a research paper or a manual, you will not find those persuasive words or those kind of things where it gives that glimpse of promotional attitude. So that would not be there. I hope we are clear on the difference. Yeah. Technical writing is easy in that way, wherein you do not have to put the creativity. But yes, people who are from creative background, they might feel it a little difficult initially. But once you will start doing it, you will find it easy. Okay,
Sure.
now let's see why we need technical writing. So we have already discussed this, that it is work in challenging, exciting field that tests their ability. So it's very important because every time you have to, twist and tweak your content according to the audience. So that's a very challenging job as a technical writer, but that's what you have to learn. Then it says people who enjoy learning new things. Yes, technical writing makes you an educator, makes you a very knowledgeable person in that sense. Because when you write a report or when you write a product manual, you actually learn the technicalities of that product while you are writing. So you will learn a lot of things. So maybe you can call yourself a technically qualified person in that sense, because you will be writing any kind of every kind of technical stuff. So that would be a positive point for you. Then it says a career in technical communication allows you to pick up skills. So again, same thing. If you are writing for a API documentation or a software documentation, then you will probably be going and learning something under programming and web designing, which will actually make you a knowledgeable person as a whole, right? So that is the crux. This all we have already discussed. I'm not going into this. Okay, these are the designations that you would find in the technical. I mean the job profile. So it's like technical writer, senior technical writer, then the part-time, and then tech writer, and all these kinds of things you would find. Basically, it talks about you should be a bachelor's degree, and then the other things doesn't talk about that you should specifically have some technical background like a BTech or something. Technical writing means the writing should be there in you, within yourself. Rest can be learned. Like for example, you are taking this course, so you'll be able to learn. So it's not that you particularly have to have that kind of technical qualification for this. Okay. Now it says that whenever you are planning, I mean, when you go for the technical writing, there are different phases that you will have to pass. So if you see the last line, it says planning takes up 55%. So that means the entire process of finding the content, researching about the content, that takes the more than half the time of the entire process, right? So you have to give a lot of time to the planning phase, to forming, to collecting the data. That is more important. Then second step is the organizing. That means, well, once you have all the data, now you have to put it in particular structure. That how I will go ahead and write it. So, for example, the whole format that has to be decided, and after that we implement. That means we write the stuff. Okay. Now, after you write it, you review it, and then finally you get it published. Right now, it could be in different forms. It could be in a cloud form. It could be in a the paper published form. So that could differ, but your work as a technical writer is planning, structuring, drafting, and then finally the reviewing part. I hope we are clear on this whole process thing. All right. Now let's come to, so we have like finished our first module. I think Bhavesh was not there the last time. So we have total 10 modules that we are covering here in the entire course of your 32, 33 hours of training. And the first module we have covered just now. Now we'll start with our second module that I'll be going through now. Okay. All right. So let me open to this one. Okay. All right. So now the second unit talks more about the documentation process. All right. So let's see what are the things that you will be covering here. So we'll have a quick recap. Now I'm just asking you the questions you need to answer me based upon the unit one that we have done. So it says, did you do anything before beginning to write? So is there anything that we do before we begin to write, people? What did you do when writing? While you were writing, what were the things that you did? Actually, you have to tell it, taking the example that we took. Remember, we wrote the article on business management. So while you are writing, what do you do? Is there anything that we do while writing? Think, tell me, while you are writing, while you have started your draft, what are the things that you will keep in your mind, or what are the things that you will do?
To keep the writing simple,
Okay,
straightforward,
so
and
you will, yeah, so you have some rules in front of you, and you make sure that you follow all those rules, right? So that could be one, that is making the sentences simple, keeping them grammar, in terms of grammar it should be error free. Okay, what else do we do while we are writing? So okay, so all the points that you gathered in planning phase, you are trying to implement it right now, right? Also, you keep in mind how to structure the data. Right, people? Do we do that? Or while you are writing a proposal, you will have to keep in your mind the structure. That okay, first I have to write the introduction, then I have to write the body part. So that all structure should be in your mind. Am I clear? Yeah, while writing. Okay. Now, what is the third step? It says, what did you do once you had completed the writing? Okay. Now tell me, if you have completed the first version, that is your first draft. Okay. I'll give it a term that you have used. We have a technical term to it. We'll use that.
Uh-huh.
Just have a just. I'm waiting for others to also give the input. So yes, people. Why once we have finished the first draft, what is the thing that we do? Then you can also check it around your grammar and like vocabulary, as you said. But yes, it is not in that form which it is in creative. So it's like a little different from that. Okay. And then also we check it around the mistakes or the corrections that you want. So all that review would be done once you are completing the first draft. Okay, so that means I have some stages to technical writing. So let's see. If you see on the screen, the first stage is pre-writing. Now, pre-writing is nothing but the planning phase. I hope this phase is clear to everyone. So, pre-writing, is this process clear? Is this part of the process clear? What all I have to do? I have to find out the audience. I have to find the tone and style that we'll be using. I'll be gathering the information and I will try to organize. All those things will be done under pre-writing. Okay, let's come to the second step. Second step is the actual writing that I'll do. That is the first draft that I'll cover. And then after writing, it's post writing, or you can say the review, right? So here you revise the content, you see the grammatical accuracy, you check the style and all, if everything is okay. And also there's a term that I was telling was proofreading, right? So that's the term that you use in technical writing. Proofreading basically means, what is proofreading, people? What is the meaning of proofreading? So see, proofreading for creative and technical is entirely different. People, you will have to understand that when you are going for the technical writing, proofreading happens in two, three steps. It actually happens from the structure to the SMEs reviews that all have been given. You have to see if they are implemented here. Okay, because that is something which you are writing for the technical stuff, right? So everything has to be seen. And finally, the last stage is the one which you do in the creative one. That is the grammar accuracy and the spellings and all. That is the last step. So proofreading would basically consist of all the things, starting from the structure to the comments given by the SMEs, by the coders. You have to see if everything is there in the write-up or not, right? And finally, the proofreading of the final draft that is done, that is across the grammar and the other syntax and semantics. Is that clear, everyone? So these were the terms. So we started with a pre-writing thing, then we went for writing, and then post-writing. Now it says that what is the advantage of using this strategy? So it says it helps the writer overcome the blank page syndrome. So what happens? What is blank page syndrome? Any idea? Yeah. For 1 minute, people just think what to do and what kind of whimsical activity madam is telling you to do. Object and then creative and then technical, right? So that happens when when you don't understand. I mean, how to start, right? So that's why these stages are there, so that you can directly come to these stages and start working on them. So that is first. Second, it says it serves the writer as a guide to writing, since it suggests steps. So because there are steps, so you don't have to think. You just have to start doing those steps, right? So it is more like a standard procedure. So you know that the first step for any kind of thing is I have to research and collect the data. That's what I have to do for the first thing. And then accordingly the other things will fall in place. Then it says it makes the writer aware of the contextual consideration. That means now you also know that you have to get the answers of those W's and H's, so that you will try to take it right. So there is nothing that it is blank. You know there is a lot of stuff to do even before you start the writing process. And then it promotes the awareness of the writing as well. So once you have collected everything, you know all the questions, all the answers to all those W, H, and H. So now you know that okay, this is the thing that I have to do. So you are well aware and you are well motivated to write. Then it says it accounts for individual variation. Yes, that happens. Now, a very good example is everyone wrote something, right? Now, even if two people were writing on the same thing, the idea differs. Does it happen, people? Happens, right? Depends upon the style of the writer. So maybe two people wrote about eraser, but somebody wrote it in the form of a ballad or a poem, or somebody wrote it in the form of an article. Both of them were writing about the eraser, but the kind of the kind of content that was presented was different, right? So that depends upon the style of the writer. Okay, now these are some of the questions. Again, coming back to the questions again and again, telling why, because so that you remember them. So whom am I writing and why? I hope this is clear. How should I transmit the information? Okay, what do we understand by this one? How should I transmit the information? So that means that I should be very clear in my mind that the tone would be strictly formal and objective, and the style that I have to follow will depend upon the kind of write up I'm writing. So if it is a report, or if it is a case study, or if it is a product manual, so that should be clear. And that answers the question of how. Okay, how I should write. Okay, now next one is what ideas should I include? Now there will be, remember I told you that there will be a lot of data that you will collect. Again and again, I'm telling you to research on the data. Now, once you start the research, there are many things that you get right after the research. Now, it is you as a technical writer who has to decide which data has to be taken and which data has to be eradicated or which has to be removed. Now, can you tell me how will you decide this as a technical writer? You don't have any magic stick with you, right? Any magic wand. So how do you decide that which data I have to keep and which one I don't have to? Very valid point that yes, because see, when you are searching for the data for the term business management, obviously all the data that you will collect will be related to business management. Now again, we are back to square one. How to select among all those things, right? Now, basically, you have to first understand what is the objective of that. Even in business management, there could be 10 different topics on which you could write. So you will first have to see which topic are you selecting. Are you selecting the roles and responsibilities? Are you selecting the problems that you are facing? So, according to that, the best suited material has to be referred. Referring you can do from any data, but then the kind of tables or the kind of data that you have to take should match with the exact object. I hope this point is clear because this will create a problem, people, while you will be writing we'll do the assignments and all. So please be very clear and ask me if you have any doubt. Clear so far, people? This point. Now, the next one it says, how should I organize and structure this information? That is again the outlining. So, before you start the writing, the planning phase also consists of a step which is outlining. That means you will have to segregate, depending upon the different topics that you will have for that kind of writer. So, that is very, very important. Okay, audience analysis, we have understood that there will be some SMEs that would be talking about. So if you're writing about a manual, what do? We first consult the SMEs. For example, if you're writing something about a software, about an app, so you will first have to sit with those coders and software developers. They will tell you the kind of work they have done. Even you will have to see the demo, right, for the entire product or the app, and then only you can start scripting it. Because until and unless you yourself understand the process, you will not be able to write it. So that is important. Then it says, so again, specific manuals like troubleshooting and all can only be done when you have discussed with the SMEs. Okay. Now let's see. So these are the questions that you can ask for the audience analysis. Just have a look. It says evaluate your primary readers. What do we understand by primary readers, people? Any idea? Again, the direct audience that we are talking about, right? For example, if I've written a training manual, who will be the direct reader for that? The technicians who are having that training, right? Those will be the primary readers. For example, if I'm writing a training manual, people, so for the training manual, the primary audience, the main audience that you have are the technicians who are taking that training. Of course, the people who are taking that training will read that training manual first. Yes or no? Those are the primary readers for you, and you have to prepare your content according to the primary readers. That who are the direct people who will get affected by it. So, if I'm talking about a training manual, I have to keep my technicians, my trainees in mind, and then only I have to prepare it. A very good example would be the PPTs that you are seeing right now. Now, this is also a kind of deliverable made for trainees, right? Now, if I write something which is not understandable to the people who are taking this training, as a technical writer, my job is not done. I hope this point is clear to everyone. Now, see the second point. It says address how writing will also guide other readers. Now, you have to also keep in mind your secondary readers, not primarily, but they are also there. For example, this PPT would be seen directly by a person who is from a writing background. But then there are also some people who are not from the writing background. They are the novice people. They are the new people to this field. So I have to prepare my content such that both of them should be able to understand. So I will have some technical jargons as well, and plus explanations to those technical jargons, so that the simple and the complicated both the audience can understand. I hope this point is clear. Now let's see the other question. It says, are these readers technical experts? So again, when you talk about the audience, you have to see that whether these people are technical experts. Now, can you tell me why this question is important? And as a technical writer, why do you need to know this? And whether they are technical experts or not? When you know that your end users are technically qualified, they are technical experts, you can use more of the technical jargon, right? Without even explaining them. So that's how your technical content will change. I hope we are clear on this. Yes, people? All right. Now, next question is, will non-technical readers use this report? If so, take their needs into consideration. That we have already discussed, that we will mix and match so that both the audience are able to read it. Is this documentation standing alone on its own, or is a part of large documentation? Now, this is important. What happens is, in some of the documents, you will be writing the whole training manual, which will have all the processes. For example, there is this organization which has production team, HR team, operation team, okay, manufacturing team. So they have different departments. Now you are preparing a training manual, suppose, okay. Now, if it has to be prepared for all the processes, or you have to just prepare for one process, that you need to check. I hope this is clear, this point. Now, type of audience, we have experts, we have technicians, we have executives and non-specialists. Okay, let me ask you, experts, who are experts? Quickly. Experts would be people who would be evaluating you, right? People who have a little more knowledge than maybe the product on which things have been written. The experts would be people who are standing for the investigation, who are standing for the inspection, right? So, little more knowledgeable people for whom the writing has been done. Is that clear? Okay, who are the non-specialist people? Yes, please. Who are the non-specialists? If I say a non-specialist means end user, actually end user are all of them, but non-specialist would be the layman, the customer maybe. So based upon the kind of audience, my write-up will change. All right. So till now we have understood about my audience, the kind of questions I'll be asking to myself. Now the next thing that you have to do, that is the comes under the planning phase, which we talked about as collecting and organizing the information. Now, as a technical writer, remember I told you on that day the steps that you see in WikiHow. So have you seen that? The page of WikiHow? Okay, let me show you how this works. So this is also a kind of technical writing that we do in WikiHow. Just let me know if you are able to see the screen, people. How does it happen? They have given a process. So this is the common structure that they follow. They have the title, whatever, how to questions are answered here. Then they give a small paragraph about that, maybe about that apparatus, whatever is working. And then they have stepwise instructions. So for example, if step one is this, so they will give the heading of step one along with a small picture, and then some paragraph on the entire process of the first step. Right? Same happens for the second step. Again, second step, picture along with some text. Then again, third picture, step three, and then with some text. So this is how it works. This is the common structure that they follow. Right? Now, in order to get that structure, first you should have the information with you. Right? So I hope we have understood the structure. This is more of a process based thing. All right, now let's come back here. Let's see, we have now, suppose you have to write about a bank, okay? So you have this bank and you are talking about how to open an account, all right? So what type of information will you collect? Suppose you have to write something about how to open a zero balance account in a saving account. So what type of data do you need? How do you collect the data? What you have to do is the process that you have to do is You have to find out the steps to open a zero account balance account in any of the banks. So how do you go ahead and collect and research on the data? How do we do that? So you need to first collect the information. So one, you are saying, okay, anything else that you would like to collect here when you want to open a zero balance account? What are the kind of data or information you will be collecting? So first of all, in planning phase, you have to first try yourself. What are the steps? Okay. Now, when we talk about collecting and organizing information, this is something. See, so they have given you this link. I hope this is visible to everyone. How to open? Is this visible? Yeah, okay. All right. Now, see, they have given you certain steps here. See, first they gave an introduction paragraph and then they have given you the steps. So, first, if you want to tell somebody how to open a zero balance account, you can probably go to other banks, the websites of other banks, and try to find out what are the steps that they are following. That you can check for yourself that how do we do it. And then finally, you will try to write the steps. That's how we'll do it, people. See, so how it has been written. All you need to know about SBI zero balance account. So they have given step by step process, numbered list. Okay, the minimum balance amount to be maintained is zero. So all the conditions have also been given along with the paragraph. So this is how it works, and for that you have to first collect the data, the required data that is important. Is this clear? How do we go ahead and collect and organize based upon the topic? Okay. Now, see, these are some of the research strategies. That means the way you need to collect the data. I hope the screen is visible. How to conduct research. Now, there are two types of research that you will be doing. Now, by research, please don't go in that mode where you are a scientist or doing some research. I'm just talking about before even you start any of the writing, the kind of data collection that you do. That's called research in technical writing. Okay, so that research can happen in two ways. Number one, the primary research, and number two, the secondary research. Now, what all comes under primary research? That means the direct interview you would have taken. For example, you were writing about this account thing, so you actually talked to the people. Yeah, you actually talked to the bank people. What are the process? What is the thing? So all that interview that you took, the conversation, that means all the face to face conversation that you had with the SME or with the coder, all that will come. Expert opinion, maybe there are some do's and don'ts or some tips given by the experts. So all that is primary research related to your topic. Surveys could be another example. I hope you all have seen, huh? There is a Google form which we float, right? And then it comes to people, basically on all the online web shopping as well. It comes, right? For the review. Have you seen that? So when you click on that, you fill that whole form, knowing that okay, this product is useful or not useful. So this is again a primary research. Records, again, when you actually research. So for example, I was writing something about the effect of pandemic. Okay, so I actually went to some places and took the data. I recorded a data in form of Excel sheet, that okay, in this year these many deaths happened. These many deaths were because of COVID, and these were not because of COVID. So that type of record I have collected. So that also will come under primary research. All the kinds of maps, all the kinds of questionnaires, the open-ended and close-ended questions, everything is the part of your primary research. Now, what is the secondary research? When you go through the links, when you actually go through already published papers. For example, you are writing a case study and you went to the Google and you actually found two, three articles talking about the same thing, and you took matter from that or you took the data from that. That is called secondary. So whenever you will be doing any kind of technical write-up stuff, these are the research strategies that you'll be following. Now, after you have collected the data, you have to organize it. So how do we do that? That's called document design. Okay. So in technical writing terms, we call it as a document design. That is, you outline the basic headings. So remember, we saw that format: introduction, body. So that's the outlining of the document that we'll do. So we will outline, we will structure the document. Then we will, before we will start to write, I have to understand the concept, and then I'll write it. Okay, when I'll write the introduction, I will try to define this term. Okay, now when I write the problems, I will try to demonstrate, maybe in the form of steps, right? So all that will come under document design. Second thing that you will do for organizing is the formatting. So this also we will be doing in detail, how to format your write-up. So once you have written everything, there are some styling and formatting options that you have to take care of. That also we have to do. And finally, the graphics. The graphics, whatever pictures and all you have put. So how do we, put the captions and how do we do that? So all that will also be there. So this is the kind of information for organizing the information, or you can say the collection and organization. Now, this we have already discussed. I hope everyone can relate with it, right? The technical specification versus the creative. Now, see, if you want to write a technical specification, what are the things that you have to take care? Now, these are some of the points while you are into technical writing. You have to take pictures. You have to put the pictures in the article as well, the infographic that we talked about, based upon the numeric data. For example, you collected some report, maybe some Excel sheet where you have written, okay, number of patients. The example that I took, number of patients who were uh, uh, who died because of COVID, number of patients who died by other causes. So this kind of numeric data can be converted into a graph, right? It can be converted into a pie chart. So any kind of graphical representation based upon the numeric data can be put in the technical writing. So this will help the readers understand better, because they will see in the form of a chart, in the form of bar graph, that okay, these many death rates, this was the death rate in this year, this was the death rate in this year. So all that information will be very clear. Now, when it says visual based on graphics, that means all the graphics should be there, right? Multimedia, very important. If you have to put a snapshot, or if you have to put a picture or any kind of infographics. Next thing is avoiding plagiarism. Okay, what is plagiarism, people? So in technical writing, or in creative, or in any kind of writing, content writing, plagiarism is a very major crime, you can call it as, lifting the data as it is from the sources. So for example, you referred four articles and you just lifted the data, you just copy pasted that data. That is not acceptable. There are some tools that the your clients, or maybe your managers would be using, your quality team would be using, and based upon it they will tell you that okay, this whole data has been copied, so there is a plagiarism issue. So that should not be done. If you want to use that data, you can either paraphrase, rephrase, or use the concept, but the writing part, the content part should be yours. Is this clear how we can avoid the plagiarism? And finally, the Photoshop means the designing part. So normally, as a technical writer, you need not worry about the designing part. You just have to put the content at the right place. Maybe you can explain to the designer that how you want it. For example, if you want a brochure in three folds, so you can actually tell him that okay, this matter I want it in the front one, this I want on the second page, this on the third. So this way you can explain. But the actual designing is not the part of technical writer. There are other people in graphic designing who will be doing this. Okay. Now, after we have collected the data, after we have organized, after we have put all the visuals and all, there is something called as producing the information. Okay. Producing means the output, right? The production, the output. So in terms of technical writer, the output is when you publish the document. Finally, when you are done with all the reviews, all the writing, finally what you do, you publish the information, right? Either you provide it to the client, or you put it on the cloud, right? The net, maybe it's a soft copy. So whatever it is called the information production. Now, what all things that I have to take care? First of all, I have to check whether the document design is correct or not. Whatever I planned for, right? The document structure should be correct. Pictures and tables, figures should be kept appropriately. All this has to be checked. So there has to be a checklist before going ahead for the publishing, for the production. So all this has to be checked. Then the content can be reviewed by your peers. So that's called peer review. You can give it among your team, and the team members maybe can check it, right? Then you have to see what is the format that is needed. Is it a zip format, archive, or whatever? So based upon that, the things have to be given, right? So all those things have to be taken care of. Now, these are the pointers we have already discussed: purpose, audience, style, tone, structure. I don't think you need any explanation on these. So yes, just putting it down. Okay. Now, so this was the entire process of your documentation.